What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the market report for April 2024. We're going to be diving into all the data from March and looking at new listings, looking at buyer activity, pending sales, closed sales, and trying to decipher kind of how things are going as we're rolling into spring and what we can project through spring as we roll into summer. Let's dive right in right now and take a look. Average sale price dropped slightly to $383,236 in March. That's down from the all-time highs in early, probably April-ish of 2023. We were sitting right around 410, maybe 412, and now we're down to 383,236. So my projections through the last couple of months have been that as we roll into springtime, we're going to see buyer activity pick up, and we're going to start to see home prices rebound. Whether this is kind of the normal pullback and then, before it jumps again, this is kind of how markets run, right? Like things don't just go in a straight line. You typically have a jump, a pullback, a jump, a pullback, or, the other way around sometimes. Again, since middle of last year, you've kind of had a pullback, a jump, a pullback, a jump, a pullback. So the market's been trending kind of down over the last year or so. We saw a nice rebound over the last couple months. And that could definitely continue as we roll into spring because, again, that's typically the seasonal pattern, right? The second half of the year, you see things trend down. First half of the year, you see things trend up. So we're going to take a look at some other pieces of data and kind of decide whether average sale price is the clear indicator of where the market's going or whether my projections have been off over the last couple of months and we can expect something different as we roll into 2024. But first, let's look at the last 3 years of average sale price. We were $383,236 last month. A year ago, $343,000. 2 years ago, $377,000, and 3 years ago, $313,000. So there's still significant equity in your home if you bought within the last 3 years or 3 years ago or more. But if you bought 2 years ago, for example, you're sitting pretty close. You know what I mean? So some people could be getting toward underwater, depending on if they took out cash refis, things like that. We're starting to hit a point where things have plateaued a little bit, and some people could be getting in trouble, and that might push more inventory into the market. Price per square foot, $223 per square foot in March. Again, that's pretty level with what we've seen for the last year or so. So nothing surprising there. All-time highs were $230 per square foot back in June of 2023, and we've kind of seen a little pullback since then, but overall fairly stable. Again, up 4.7% year over year, so still solid growth. New listings finally starting to spike. In November, December of last year, we were super low. Again, typical of winter months, but super low. We've started to see it rebound, and we had another nice rebound in March. And what this is going to do is it's going to release some of the pressure. You know what I mean? Right now, you've had very little inventory. You've still had a significant amount of buyer pressure. And it's just put a lot of pressure on these sellers or these listings. And again, that makes it a seller's market. That helps the seller to negotiate and have more offers to choose from. And as more listings come on the market, if we still see the same buyer activity, you're going to start to see that ease up a little bit, and it's going to be a little bit easier for buyers to get into the homes that they love. Looking at new listings over the last few years, again, 308 last month. We had 247 new listings a year ago. 451 new listings 2 years ago and 416 3 years ago. Again, these are kind of coming out of the pandemic years. They were strange years, right? So this might be more typical of a market, right? Compared to this where it's kind of an extreme market after some weird circumstances. Looking at homes for sale, we're at 471 homes for sale in March. Again, it's pretty low. Overall inventory is pretty low, and that's going to continue to affect sale price and things like that. Looking at pending sales, 253 in March. So pending sales are rebounding since the end of last year, and we've been looking to see that because what that tells us is buyer activity is remaining strong and it's going to strengthen as we roll into springtime despite what rates are doing. So the Fed has been holding rates stable after kind of offering to bring them down or suggesting that they might bring rates down over the next few months. This was several months ago. They've held stable and they haven't come down, and honestly it doesn't sound like they plan to bring them down. It sounds like they actually plan to push them up closer to 8%. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it's nice to see the buyers have adjusted to that and they're continuing to jump back in the market as we roll into springtime. Compared to the last few years, last year we had 261, 2 years ago 386, and 3 years ago 381. Again, pretty weird markets compared to probably a more typical market. Number of closed sales also jumped. So the last couple months we've kind of seen pending and closed. One would go up, one would go down. It was kind of weird, right? So it's like, are people getting into contract and then canceling? It's like, what are they doing? This is the first month in a couple months we've seen both pending and closed sales take a nice jump. So again, a good sign of buyer strength and that buyers have adjusted to rates and are willing to make a move. Looking at closed sales over the last 3 years, 239 this month, 262 a year ago, 343 2 years ago, and 319 3 years ago. Looking at days on market, 18 days on market right now, which has slowly been coming down. And again, that's a sign that buyers are jumping back in the market. Now that inventory is starting to increase, though, I'm wondering if we're going to see that stabilize or jump back up next month because we now have more listings for them to choose from, or if we're going to continue to see days on market pull back as we roll into spring. Overall months of inventory, 2.1. It's been steadily coming down since middle to end of last year. And months of inventory is kind of our clearest indicator of whether it's a seller's market or a buyer's market, right? Typically if you have 5 months or so of inventory, then it's a middle. It's the neutral market. If you have more than 5 months of inventory, it's typically a buyer's market where the buyer has most of the negotiating power. And if you have less than 5 months of inventory, it's typically considered a seller's market. So you can see based on just months of inventory, it would be considered an extreme seller's market. Now, if you look at sale price pulling back, if you look at the number of offers on properties, the number of showings on properties, I don't think we can say it's an extreme seller's market, but I think it still edges toward a seller's market despite rates, if not being kind of a neutral market. In summary, average sale price fell slightly in March to $383,236. This is a little bit strange as prices have typically been increasing in March with spring activity. But again, the Fed has been talking about raising interest rates to 8%, and that may be kind of having people a little nervous. You know, people don't like uncertainty. They don't like the what ifs. They want to hear we're going to bring it down. They don't want to hear we may have to increase it. Price per square foot also fell slightly to $223 per square foot in March. That's still not far off of the all-time high of $230 per square foot in June of 2023. So I wouldn't feel too bad if you are selling now compared to June because you are still doing excellent and you should have great equity in your home. New listings rebounded in March with 308 new Tulare County properties hitting the market. And again, this should help get the market moving. The more properties we have, the more buyers are typically going to be interested in them, and it should just keep everything kind of flowing. The Fed does have their finger on that. Again, what they do with rates is going to determine how active buyers are, and we'll kind of see how that goes. It's an election year, so they might flip real quick. You just never know. Pending sales and closed sales both jumped significantly in March, and that tells us that the springtime buyers are getting active again. So buyers are here, listings are here. It's time, and we're primed for a great market as long as the Fed doesn't turn on the water hose. Total inventory climbed a bit to 2 months of inventory in March. It actually showed it stabilized on the graph, but I remember last month it was at 2. So thanks to some new listings hitting the market, we still need more inventory. So I would say we are still light. It's still a seller's market. We could use more inventory. There are going to be more buyers rolling into the market as the next few months roll in. People start getting their tax returns and things like that. So definitely need more inventory. And buyers, if you don't own a property right now, even if interest rates hit 8%, it's better than 100% interest like you would paying with rent, guys. So if you can buy, it's in your best interest to buy something, even if you have to sit on it for a couple years and refinance, or sit on it for a couple years, sell it and get into something that you like better. Being able to start building equity in your home is your ability to start building wealth. It's like an invisible savings account that you're putting money into every month. Whereas if you're paying rent, you're putting it into somebody else's savings account. So I want to thank you guys again for watching. I love doing these market updates. It really keeps me tuned in, and hopefully it keeps you guys tuned in. If you have any questions or concerns, I would love to hear them. Any comments, let me know. Call me, text me, send a messenger pigeon. Would love to talk to you, and I'll see you next month. Take care.
Are you having a hard time selling your property, or just stressed for time to do it? Won't you contact David Haun at www.meetdavidhaun.com. With 100 plus happy clients, closed deals over 4 years in the business, MBA in digital marketing, and 5-star Google and great client experience. With the skills to compete with anyone in any presentation exposure, beautiful photography, aerials, 4K videos, interactive virtual tours, and even neighborhood spotlights, they'll be used to present property. With professional cleaning on every listing paid by David Haun. Our marketing is very focused on online experience. David provides a Matterport virtual walkthrough on each listing. With the number of buyers we are seeing from the metro areas of California, it's a huge benefit for them to be able to see the house in much detail. Everything is placed on a landing page. That's the hub of all the social media posts, paid ads, circle calls, emails, and text codes that's on the side, which enables David to help you capture leads without any contact. With paid social media ads, David Haun can target anyone who has been on Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com within the last 90 days. With everything I can provide, be assured that 10,000 plus active local buyers see your property within the first week. Don't believe me? Check out my testimonies at www.reviewdavidhaun.com.